Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free, impartial advice on all your debt.
This is something that comes along every now and then in generation, and it's special.
Andrew McCART, IFL TV, in association with MTK Global. Delighted to be joined by the older brother, the older Smith brother, Paul Smith Jr. Paul, the last time I saw you was Phoenix this time last year. A year on, did we think this fight was going to happen? Callum Smith, your brother Callum against Canelo?
Didn't think any fights were going to happen this year with the way it's been, but it's sitting here last year, we probably assumed it could happen. We just wanted big fights for Callum as a family and himself, knowing what it is. But as I say, I don't think anyone could have predicted what was going to happen this year, from like February, March, April, the way everything went with the virus and everything else. But we're here and it's great, and I'm just happy that we've got a smaller capacity of fans in, but fans nonetheless. He's had a great chance to train and be in camp and be as fit as he can be, and he is, and he looks great. He looks in a brilliant place, so really excited about the fight. I
said to him, we were sitting exactly at this spot here, and I said to him, you're drinking coffee, I mean, your weight must be good. You know your brother inside out, you know the type of person he is. He doesn't give much away, but what I've been seeing, he looks confident. Like, he isn't here just to make up the numbers, is he?
No chance. I'm glad you're saying it, and other people that can see him are saying it, because I just get told I'm a biased brother and I'm going to say it, and it offends me a little bit when people say it, because I'm not that, I'm not that naive. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to win because he's my brother. He's going to win because he's a quality fighter. He can bang, he can mix it, he's fit, he's strong, he's proven himself every single time and time again. He's number one in the division, and Canelo's made for him. Callum might be made for Canelo as well. You know what I mean? It's one of them fights, but he's massively confident, and trust me, there's not one shred of doubt in his mind, and he's not here for anything else but a Callum Smith win.
How do you see the fight going then? Can you see Callum tagging him, dropping him, hurting him, stopping him? How do you see the fight going?
I can see Callum knocking him out cold. I can see Callum closing the show with a highlight reel knockout, as we know he's capable of doing and got in his locker. I can see a boxing match. I can see a chess match. I can see two top quality fighters setting traps with each other. I can see if all outcomes, but no one knows what's going to happen until it happens. But I'm massively confident in him, and the game plan what he's been working on in the gym looks brilliant. The stuff he was doing little bits last night on the pads, just a little bit of technique here and there, and you can just focus on that, because as we've said, there's no problem with weight and everything else. So he's not having to kill himself every day with sessions. He's having days off. He's looking really good, and he's mentally, I've never seen him as focused or in that good place. But you're gonna be if this fight can't make you be in that place and make you mentally be in that place as defending world champion against the number one pound for pound in many people's book, then you're in the wrong game. And I think we'll see a completely different performance, obviously, from his last fight, but a completely different performance than he's shown before, because this is a completely different scenario that he's ever had before against the best in the world.
Is this a case of every sort of good fight, every good big fighter beats a good little fighter? We've seen it with Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko, where the bigger guy was big enough to bully the smaller fighter and get the win, even though it was a very entertaining fight. Can we see a similar scenario with Callum and Canelo, in terms of Callum's going to be the bigger man in this fight and he's a quality fighter himself?
Of course we can. It's not like I'm not going to sit here and just use that as, it's a nice convenient example to use, isn't it, for us to try and convince people. I don't need to convince anyone. I know what Callum can do, but it's a good comparison to use. I think in that fight, Lomachenko just bit off a bit more than he could chew. He tried to move through the weights and came up against a massive lightweight when he shouldn't have been in that division. And Canelo, I think his natural weight is 160, but he's shown that he can win titles at 175, get knockouts at 168, win fights well at that weight, and that takes a talented and gifted fighter, which we know he is. And we're not here as fanboys at all. Callum's not here as a fan or as someone who admires him. Callum probably dislikes him for what happened with Liam in the fight, but we do appreciate what he's got. We do know what he's got. Callum certainly knows what he's got and appreciates what he's got. He's a quality fighter, and that's why this fight's happening, because he is a quality fighter. He's one of the best in the world, as we say, if not the best pound for pound, and he wants to challenge himself. Credit to him, he wants to challenge himself against the best in the division, and Callum is undoubtedly the best 168 in the world. So it's not a case of, well, look what happened with Lopez and Lomachenko. He did that, so that's exactly what's going to happen in this fight. But it's nice and convenient for us to use. But what happened in that fight, very much so, can and probably will happen in this fight, in my opinion, where Canelo realises, you know what, I can't bully him and push him off with my stand. I can't sort of do this and that. I can't get away with that. The shots that I was able to take and ride off his brother Liam Smith, who was only a 154, I can't take and ride off him because he'll put me lights out. He's a big puncher, a heavy concussive puncher with skills and ability, and it's not, it's not going my way here. And mentally, it's going to ask questions of Canelo, who will have to adapt, hopefully. And that's the way I see the fight, and the Lopez and Lomachenko example is a good example to use, because I think he just finally realised, this was a bit of a step too far. He's not getting any younger, Lomachenko, and neither is Canelo. He's been a pro since he was 15, obviously. That's no secret in boxing.
50 fights as well.
Yeah, and it's a long time in the game as well, and there is going to come a point, as it does in every fighter, where you just age, and overnight you get in there and you think it's not what it was, and fingers crossed it's Saturday night.
I want to pick up on something you said there. Is there sort of a little bit of a revenge feeling for Callum to what happened to Liam? And obviously, you're a close-knit family, man. Your dad's here, every single brother's here. You're very, very close. So is there a little bit of a revenge feeling for Callum going into this fight?
We've just had that conversation upstairs with DAZN. We were doing an interview for DAZN, and 4 of us together on a couch, and we were watching Liam's fight and clips of it. That's why I've just mentioned the things I mentioned then. And that got mentioned in the fight, and he said, will it be on your mind? And as Callum said, I answered it from my perspective. I lost to George Groves. When Callum knocked George Groves out, there wasn't one part of me that thought, get revenge for me. And there wasn't one part when it happened, yes, he got revenge. It wasn't about my brother's just become world champion. If Callum wins this fight on Saturday, Liam's not going to be buzzing thinking, yes, he beat Canelo for me. It's not, it doesn't even cross our minds. After a couple of days, think, you got him back for that as well. You know what I mean? That's nice. The same way we all did. All we're thinking about is Callum, and all Callum's thinking about is that. And if that can happen, then it's a nice little bonus added in. We've done it with fights before. I remember the Rocky Fielding fight. I remember just being delighted because he did what we thought he'd do. Knock him out nice and early, get him out of there, win the British title, become the 4th brother to win a British championship. All 4 brothers held a Lonsdale belt, and it was great. And then it twigged while we were in the ring. We all had money on round 1, round 2, or round 1, sorry, in the first 4 rounds. So it's like that nice little bonus. That's what the nice little bonus would be if this happened, obviously for Liam. But I think we'd be too busy celebrating the fact that Callum's just announced himself majorly on the world scene.
The little brother, getting revenge for his big brothers, eh? that's a sight to be said.
That's how it should be. He's the youngest. He's gone through it all. He's watched all the things that we've done right, and more importantly, all the things that we've done wrong. Don't make them mistakes, and what we did right, you do more of, and you do better. And for me, the younger brother should be the best.
Well, that's well said. I've got to say as well, all going well. I know as a fighter yourself, I said this to Liam as well, asked this question, as a fighter yourself, you never ever look past this fight. As a fighter, you always, one fight at a time, so to speak, but you're not fighting at this moment in time, so I can probably ask you this question. All going well for Liam when he does beat Canelo on Saturday night. Is the next fight for Callum the Billy Joe Saunders fight? It's a massive fight for us in the UK. He's another world champion. It's another step to become undisputed in that division. Is that the most organic fight next for Callum?
I think if Callum beats Canelo on Saturday, which we're open and praying and believing that he will do, then the next fight is another Canelo fight. I think that's the only logical fight. I don't think Canelo and Matchroom, the team, Renault, all them lot are going to let Callum walk away scot-free if he beats him and wins. And why would Callum go and fight Billy Joe for a small percentage of money and a smaller purse when he fights Canelo, and he gets probably 10 times that amount for fighting Canelo in a rematch, which you will. I'm not exaggerating the money, what you get in a rematch for Canelo. It's already mentioned that little bits here and there in contracts and everything else, or in discussions and negotiations, which I wasn't part of. But you're not soft. Everyone knows what happens. You don't win. You don't get big money challenging for world titles. You get it when you defend the world titles, and you don't get. It's easy for me to say because it is life-changing money. Obviously, what Callum's getting for fighting Canelo and defending his title. But you win that fight, then it's probably 3, 4, 5 times the amount. So for me, again, looking forward, I don't really want to look past this fight. But as me just sitting here as a neutral, if I was to advise him, if I was to advise any fighter, if you're fighting that fight and you know you win, you're getting a rematch, and that's where you're going to make serious money, but you've got to make a serious statement first in beating him, so just concentrate on this one.
Why should the fans tune in? I mean, the zones...
Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the Billy Joe Saunders fight's a great fight, and Billy Joe's a good fighter. You know, we all know him, we all know what he's about. He's a good lad, we like him. You know, he's, apart from his little comment after his last fight, you know, he's a nice, respectful lad as well towards us, and we know him well, and it's a great fight between two unbeaten, hopefully it stays that way, two unbeaten world champions from Britain in a division and a weight that has produced brilliant all British clashes over the years, right back to Ben Eubank, right up to Callum Groves in Saudi. You know, there's Groves to Gale. There's been a lot of fights. Froch Groves, I'll be here all day naming them all. They're all at that weight division, and if we can get another one of them down the line, hopefully again, as I say, with Callum of beating Canelo, then brilliant. It'll be a great fight, and it'll be one more, you know, we'll settle who's probably the best in the country, regardless of what people think Callum is now.
Got to ask then, if he does get the rematch with Canelo, Liverpool, Anfield.
It'd be great, wouldn't it? But again, you know, I think if you get the rematch and it goes Callum's way and he wins, then Canelo and his team would rightly turn around and say, why go and fight at Anfield with 60,000 when we can fight in Dallas with 100,000? And it's whatever the money is, or we can fight in Vegas and the ticket prices and being in Vegas is more, it's whatever makes the most money. And we're talking about Fury and AJ, and we're talking about the possibility of it. It's looking likely that's going to have to go to Saudi Arabia or Abu Dhabi or places like that, because it'll generate the money that the fight deserves. Whereas over in Britain, it's not going to do that. In the States, it won't do that because of ticket revenue, low numbers because of COVID and everything else. So it's all about, you go where the money is. Joshua Ruiz rematch was in Saudi because that's where they're going to get that money from and for it. So you go where the money is, but I think Anfield will be something else, and it is stuff teams are made of. Callum defending his title against Canelo in a rematch at Anfield, it would be the stuff teams are made of. But you know, who knows? We'll leave all that to the people who control that to decide. We're just here to help Callum be the best he can, and Callum to perform brilliantly on Saturday night.
I've got to ask about your other brother, Liam. He sent out a tweet. We sort of quote retweeted that Jake Paul. Would you like to see Liam smash that guy? What's your thoughts on this whole YouTube sort of scenario? It's
mad, and I don't want to sound like one of them tits on Twitter and social media who used to box. So I'll beat him. I haven't been in the gym for 2.5 years. I'd beat him now with one hand. You know, it's not about that. I'm not going to get the fight.
50 million?
Mate, I'd take give me 50 grand. I'll punch his head in with one hand right now. You know, it's not about that. It's just a macho thing with boxers. I'll beat him. Ultimately, listen, mate, this social media, this is what I say about it all the time. My argument isn't YouTubers making money. Good on you. You can make money. Brilliant. Go and do it. You're helping our sport. If you're on a pay-per-view show and that show's going to get 2 million buys because you're on that show, you're helping all them fighters on that bill. Brilliant, thank you. If you want to come and try boxing and experience boxing, and you manage to be good enough that you can actually do it, albeit at a bad level, brilliant, good on you, because I love boxing. And we're all boxers, and it's our life and it's our passion. And if people can come and experience it, white collar, I think someone might get hurt eventually doing white collar, but I think it's a great idea because you can experience on a small scale what boxing is, how tough it is, how hard it is. You're a YouTuber, and what you've just done in that video to McGregor, calling his wife, calling everyone else, if that's me and I'm McGregor, and I hope McGregor does this, I'm not going to reply, I'm not going to do that. The minute I see it in the street, I'm going to punch your fucking head in, and that's it. And you can go and try and get him nicked, you can do whatever, but you're not saying that and getting away with it. You can't say them type of things to people and get away with it, and that's what this social media sort of created. You can do videos and post a video and think, it's only selling a fight. It's not selling nothing. McGregor's not going to fight him. McGregor's never going to fight him. Why would McGregor entertain that type of fight, no matter if it is for 50 million? And he's saying on the video, like, you know, the highest payday you'll ever have in your life, 50 million. He got 75 million at least for fighting Mayweather. You know, he probably walked away with more than what's on offer on the table now at the moment. The lad's just completely disrespectful and needs a slap for it. And if anyone's going to give him that slap, it'd be someone like Conor McGregor, like one of them MMA lads, like Till, like all the rest. You just wouldn't want to mess with any of them. They'd literally tie you in a knot and do whatever they want with you. And you're trained in basically amateur boxing because you're not a pro. You know, you're absolutely shite, and probably wouldn't win a central area title over here. But you call him Conor McGregor's wife on a video, knowing that's going to get millions of views, millions of hits, and have people like us, as we are now, talking about it. And I'm not talking about it for the right reasons, what they want. I'm talking about as in, he needs a slap for what he's saying, and never giving a fight off someone like a McGregor or someone who can box at any decent level of fight. Sorry, at any decent level. So that's what half pisses me off about it. And I'm not jealous. I've had a few replies. I'm not jealous. I'm not bitter. I've said I welcome them. Good on them. If they're bringing attention to boxing, that'll do me. Because boxing's our sport. It needs a little injection here and there. It needs a little boost here and there. It needs a little gimmick here and there. And there's been plenty of them over the years. Fights at football stadiums, fights with cages between fighters, fights where Tyson and Lewis with security guards in the ring, splitting them up. We need little things like that. But
it's an entertainment business.
It's an entertainment business, but don't be calling fellas' wives on social media, taking the absolute piss out of him, his country, his people, his himself. When if you bumped into the lad on the street, you wouldn't say a word to him. You'd literally walk the opposite side of the road because he'd leave you in a bad way. And that's what winds me with it. Where like, I don't even want to watch things like that. Then and I think I don't want nothing to do with that now, because that's crossing every line there is, where it gets personal. It gets like family members involved and all that. It's not my cup of tea at all.
Finally, back to Callum Smith, and I do appreciate you talking about that. I thought you were tell me to fuck off, but I do appreciate. The fight's going to be on DAZN in the UK for £1.99. Why should people tune in to watch this fight, Canelo? I mean, obviously Callum Smith, one of the biggest fights of the year, but £1.99, it's a steal, isn't it, with DAZN?
It's brilliant, and there's a reason why DAZN technically put HBO boxing out in America out of business, and I didn't think HBO boxing would ever cease to exist, but that's the case. It's 2020, you know what I mean? We're going down that route of digital, of content, of instant access. Them things what you're carrying around with you. You're carrying phones around, you're accessible 24/7. Gone are the days of leave me a message and I'll get back to you. You need to answer that phone now. The landlines are gone. I grew up with landlines. I grew up having to phone, the first girlfriend you ever have when you're 15, 16. You have to phone their house in the dark, sitting there going, who is it? And you know who it is. And you have to build up the courage to phone them and say, kids will never experience that. Everything's at the fingertips 24/7. We're locked in a hotel. We can't leave that door. We're ordering Uber Eats. I'm getting back to my room and it's hanging on the door handle. That's how fast things are. And the beauty of having boxing at your fingertips, I think, is absolutely brilliant. I think the DAZN is a great concept. I think it's brilliant back home in the UK that people who want to buy it can log on for $1.99 a month. Watch top fights like Golovkin, like Callum, like any Joshua fight, like all the rest, because they'll all be coming onto the DAZN in the UK, and all of the top fights in the States. More importantly, all the content and the interviews and the backstage stuff, which yourselves have been doing, and it's competing with yourselves as well, whether you know it or not. But this is probably a more intimate level. I can tell someone to fuck off on here, and it's not going to get bleeped out. And whether people like us swear or not, this is more real than anything, and this was a breath of fresh air and still is. IFL has always been absolutely brilliant for boxers because it gives us a chance. I'm saying us as in boxers, I'm retired obviously, but it gives boxers a chance to answer back, to talk back, to have a voice, whereas you'd have to wait for the newspaper or interview to do it. But with the DAZN, I think it's brilliant. I think it's a great concept. I commentated for them on Billy Joe Saunders and Martin Murray the other week, and I really enjoyed it. It was nice and relaxed. It was chilled. It was easy, and I enjoyed doing it, and I enjoyed working again and being involved in it, and I'll be involved in the future with it. But I think it's going, I think it's going very good at the moment, and this is a perfect fight to launch it with. Canelo was a mega star. For $1.99, you get all them fights, and it just renews every month until you cancel at any time. I think you've got absolutely nothing to lose with it, so I'm all for it. Yeah, the DAZN's going to be massive.
I totally agree. Well, Paul, I won't keep you much longer. Again, thanks for doing this for IFL TV. It's always a pleasure to speak to you. You don't play ping pong, do you? Table tennis?
I've had a couple of games before, and I'll just tell your viewers that you've lost about 6 times on a bounce to Liam, and you're not gonna. It's three. Your words are, I'm not leaving until I beat him. And I had one game and lost to him because he's a shark, and we call him Sport Billy, and he's good at everything. But I think
that's true. I ain't leaving this hotel till I beat him.
I was going to say, I think keep practicing, you'll get there, because the good games, they're entertaining, aren't they? And let's have it right. We've got nothing else to do in this place apart from interviews, podcasts, and speaking with each other. But now we're all negative, which is great news.
Well, that's definitely great news. We're all negative. Paul, again, thanks for this for IFL TV, and we can't move anywhere, so I'll see you around the hotel.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Thanks, my man.
This is something that comes along every now and then in generation, and it's special.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.